This was absolutely insane to witness. The Buffalo Bills on Sunday, after a big loss to the Miami Dolphins, get revenge and they win a wild game thanks to a couple of unlikely heroes in this one. And I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this game and what made this game so wild. Obviously, the Bills are in the win column in this game, but it was an absolute roller coaster of emotions. It was one of the games of the year across the NFL, at least if you're not a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, or really a Buffalo Bills fan either, because at least if you were like me, you were watching that game with your heartbeat pumping. So lots of weird things going on in that game that had at least me basically screaming at my TV screen throughout the game. But I'm going to tell you guys exactly what went wrong in that game and then what allowed them to come back and beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home on Sunday afternoon. My name is Josh Schreiber here for Bills Digest, and if you're just tuning in here for the first time, we have about 35 subscribers left until we hit the 1,500 subscriber mark. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want some daily Bills content. We've got the best for you here every single day with Bills Digest. Well, without further ado, let's dive into it. And this is the graphic that Bills fans wanted to see so bad, really for the past week, after a really rough showing against a struggling Miami Dolphins team. Losing that one 30-13, they come back and win this game 44-32. And I'm going to tell you guys exactly who was the reason the Bills were able to squeak out this win, because there were plenty of times throughout this game, especially if you watch it, or really even followed it, that things were looking gloomy. The offense was not really clicking, but they were still putting up points thanks to some big chunk plays and really some phenomenal returns by the special teams of the Buffalo Bills. And then the defense got shredded. They got absolutely shredded. That is still very much a real issue that the Bills will have to address coming up in the near future. But with that being said, they got the W. That is what matters, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how they got that W. And honestly, what better way to start off than with the reigning MVP himself, the savior of the Buffalo Bills, Joshua Patrick Allen. Josh Allen became the only player in NFL history with multiple 3 passing touchdown, 3 rushing touchdown games in his career. The only other time that Josh Allen did this was last season against the Los Angeles Rams in a 44-42 loss. He did it this time in a victory at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he was showing off everything, whether it was rushing, whether it was passing. He was going crazy in this game. 317 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. He did have 2 interceptions, one of which was the very first possession of the game, a really strange chest pass that he had to make, really, in order to avoid safety that ended up being ill-advised. And then a 3 rushing touchdown game, 2 from within the 2-yard line, and his third one coming just a quarterback power to the right, able to find his blockers and score a touchdown that ultimately really sealed this game for a Bills team that desperately needed a win coming off a big-time loss to the reeling Miami Dolphins. But I will say this game was not all sunshines and rainbows for Josh Allen. He had really a number of mistakes in this game that I thought might really come back to bite them as the game went along. And to just point them out to you guys, after they scored the touchdown to take the lead, took a 5-point lead, they end up trying to go for 2. He has Reggie Gilliam open in the end zone and totally airmails the throw. He was overall pretty inaccurate on a lot of his throws, just 19 of 30 today. And there were a number of times he had 2 interceptions, one of which was on a 4th down, where on one hand you say, well, he had to try to make the throw. It was a good play by the defender. It was 4th down. They end up getting worse field position out of it. The Bucs did, because they intercepted it. Had it have been an incomplete pass, they would have had an extra, 10 to 15 yards of field position. But when you look at the play again, you see Ty Johnson wide open in the flat on the left side. That would have been a 1st down. So Josh Allen trying to bite a little bit more than he can chew on that play, and that led to the interception. A number of times where he was just inaccurate overall, trying to find guys down the sidelines or whatever it was. So he certainly did struggle, missed some open guys trying to get a bigger play than he needed. So certainly something to look at, and it brought on a pretty funny tweet by one of my favorite Bills creators out there, Greg Thompson of Cover One. He consistently said throughout the game, his tweet was, "This is the worst quarterback any quarterback has played, throwing for 290 yards and 4 touchdowns." Then he changed it to 5 touchdowns. Then it changed to 6 touchdowns. But really, it was true. If you had watched this game, you would not know that Josh Allen had 6 total touchdowns. The yardage, a lot of it just came out of necessity. With that being said, his 4th quarter was nearly perfect. He had the mistake throw to Reggie Gilliam. I believe that was at the end of the 3rd quarter, but you guys can check me on that one. But when it mattered most, he delivered, and that's what makes him the MVP. He didn't have his A game, but he still absolutely torched this Buccaneers defense, and you got to give him credit where credit is due. And this is why he was able to lead the team in both passing and rushing, at least until the game was decided. James Cook ended up leading the team in rushing after just in their last drive of the game, just running out the clock. He ended up getting some more yards and surpassing Josh Allen. But just a ridiculous game by the MVP. To say that a guy had a bad game and still threw for 6 touchdowns, that is not, or not threw for 6 touchdowns, but had 6 total touchdowns. That is not something you can say about any other player in the NFL, really, except for, your Patrick Mahomeses of the world, maybe, which he's not getting the rushing touchdowns that Josh is, or Lamar Jackson, who also isn't getting the rushing touchdowns that Josh is. So the fact that he was able to have a bad game and still do what he did and put up 44 points, props to Josh Allen. I mean, we get numb to it. We get numb to what he does out there, and we've got to give him credit. Now, that is the offensive side of the football. And another stat I wanted to point out there for the Buffalo Bills, per ESPN research, and shout out to Elena Getzenberg for this tidbit, Josh Allen's touchdown throw to Tyrell Shavers was his first passing touchdown on a throw of 40-plus air yards since 2022 in their season finale against the Patriots. So he was due for one of these deep touchdown bombs. Could have had a couple of them. Missed Curtis Samuel on one later, a little bit later in that game, where Samuel was kind of just lost running around. And Mecole Hardman just couldn't get his hands on one of the passes he had, a deep pass down the field that may not have been a touchdown, but certainly would have been a deep connection. So something to look at there. Good to see Josh Allen able to throw the deep ball a little bit in this game. Now, one specific player I want to highlight on this offense is someone that, if you were to list guys on a scale of who is most likely to be, sort of a savior of this offense in today's game, you'd maybe mention, Khalil Shakir, maybe Dawson Knox, if you're feeling confident that with Kincaid being out, Knox can step up. Maybe James Cook, who's been one of the best players in the NFL. Maybe, Gabe Davis would probably be up there for all we know. Josh Palmer back from injury, but no, it was Tyrell Shavers who had a career game for the Buffalo Bills. And here is the stat line from Shavers: 90 yards, 4 receptions, and a touchdown. He had that deep bomb of a touchdown thrown by Josh Allen, 43 yards into the left corner of the end zone, and he showed up when it mattered most. Multiple 3rd down conversions. He was able to get open against some soft zones. even a couple of man beaters. He did his job, and he has absolutely grinded. And a lot of Bills fans have been clamoring for Tyrell Shavers to get some playing time the past couple of years. He was a 6th round draft pick, a guy that fell in draft boards because he has shown a lot of talent. And the work ethic this guy has shown is something to behold. He was struggling to make the roster multiple times for 3 years now. And now, with Keon Coleman getting benched and a number of injuries, Tyrell Shavers has really earned his role on this offense, and give him all the credit because he worked his tail off to get to that point, and he was a huge reason why the Buffalo Bills were able to win this game. And as a result of it and getting the offense going, those 44 points, we got to see the most emotion we've seen from Josh Allen since they beat the Ravens in week 1. So that was really a good sight for Bills fans, and I'm sure for the Bills players to see their MVP, their really the heart and soul of this team, finally feeling fired up and not the puppy dog Josh Allen that people have come to know him as on social media, looking sad on the sidelines after rough offensive performance. That was not today, not at all. With that being said, I know there was a lot of good out of this game, especially on the offense. There certainly was bad as well. And the defense, to be completely honest, was putrid. And it started with the Buccaneers' Sean Tucker, who coming into the season, 3rd string running back, is only seeing time because Bucky Irving has been dealing with an injury for so long. And he came in, rushed for 106 yards, and had 3 total touchdowns, including a long receiving touchdown, 28-yard touchdown for him on the receiving end. So the Bills continue to show major issues when it comes to tackling. Jordan Poyer, he led the way for the Buffalo Bills with 15 total tackles in this game, and although it was a great game for him, it's never a good sign when a guy who does not play on 3rd and longs leads your team in tackles by that margin. That normally means that plays are getting to the 2nd and 3rd level on defense routinely, and that was true. Jordan Poyer was the last level of defense. He was able to make some big plays, and I do want to shout out Jordan Poyer because he has been really a savior for this defense, and not just with his play on the field, but with his leadership. We have seen Cole Bishop and Jordan Hancock take big-time steps on the defensive end in their development. Both of them young players, Bishop a 2nd-year player, Jordan Hancock a 5th-round rookie. Both of them have been able to take big steps, and they've credited Jordan Poyer with his leadership. And in a time where Jordan Poyer would have had every right to, be upset, not want to play for a Bills team where he's playing special teams, where he's playing, he's not allowed on the field in some of the biggest plays and passing downs because they just don't believe in his athleticism anymore. And he has just, taking it like a champ. He has been there for the Bills every step of the way, has not complained, and he has been a blessing to this team. And his brother, Jeremiah Poyer, pointed it out. This safety duo, 21 tackles, 10 solo, 2 passes defended, and one of them, a Jordan Poyer pass defense on Cade Otton, the tight end that likely saved a touchdown from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then Cole Bishop with that interception that was really the difference in this game. And I want to show you guys this interception that Cole Bishop had because it was really just an example of him knowing exactly what was coming. You see him reading this route. It was an overthrow by Baker Mayfield, and Cole Bishop just in the right place at the right time, making a diving athletic play. His 3rd interception of the season, and you have to be proud of what Cole Bishop is able to do for this Buffalo Bills defense. And I'll admit it, I've been wrong about him. He had a really rough start to the season, but he has come on with Jordan Poyer at his side, able to help him out in terms of, helping in the run game and stuff like that, allowing Cole Bishop to be the ball hawking safety that he's capable of being. So really happy to see Bishop really doing his thing and being a major reason why the Bills were able to win this game. But another thing that we have to keep an eye on, this was taken before the Daquan Jones strip sack of Baker Mayfield. The Bills haven't had a sack since Michael Hoecht was in the lineup. So the Bills' defensive line really struggled today without Hoecht in it, even though they get Sanders back, even though they have Ogunjobi in there. Daquan Jones was back. He had a strip sack. That was great to see. But overall, really rough to watch this Bills defensive line get manhandled, specifically in the run game, and not able to get a whole lot of pressure. Greg Rousseau didn't step up. AJ Epenesa wasn't who we saw, and Joey Bosa wasn't either. So something to keep an eye on. Not really a panic button moment yet, I would say. Wait a couple of weeks, see if they can get healthy and if they could get the juice going again, because, they're certainly capable of it. We've seen it at times this year, but need to be able to stop the run much better than they did today, or else they're going to be in serious trouble for the future. But overall, we'll take it 1-0. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys saw that you liked and what you didn't like in this game. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time here on Bills Digest.